Hello，你好，Welcome back，欢迎回来，Wisdom Wednesday with Johnny Tiger on April 7, 2021. I'm wearing my red jacket. For those of you who can't see the screen, my red jacket from my dragon boating days. Uh, why am I wearing this? Because it is a little bit chilly in the kitchen this time of the evening, and also I just finished attending my evening Krav Maga session, so I'm a little bit dirty and sweaty and just so yeah, that's why I decided to throw on a jacket. But the most important reason, the biggest reason, is the color red. Tonight we're celebrating the freedom to wear red color. Technically speaking, the freedom to wear any color you like. You can walk out of the house, go on the street wearing a silver, blue, and green if you like, or you can wear any kind of combination, any color. Uh, and while some people say, well, that's normal, what's so special about that? I want to say that here in North America, here in Canada, in the US, in our part of the world, we are very, very lucky to be able to say that, to be able to say, well, what's the big deal of being allowed to wear red? I often hear people, mostly younger generation, say, "Come on, it's not that time anymore. That's in the past. You got to learn to put that behind you. You got to change. You got to, it's not like that anymore." And the thing is, a lot of people make that sound so easy, as if we can just put it behind us. But what a lot of people don't realize is, some of us, that's the life we knew. That's what we knew. What we grew up in. And when you are growing up, when you're a child, things impress in your brain, and it's almost impossible to erase them. Let me give you an example. If you grow up in a kind of household where violence was permitted, where if you get do something bad, if you get annoying, or even sometimes when you didn't do anything wrong, your parents will raise their voice and yell at you or hit you or pull your hair or whatever. I will almost guarantee you that even now, even though you're an adult, all it takes is someone hitting a certain decibel in their voice. All it takes is someone suddenly hit the table like that. All it takes is someone suddenly raising their voice and say, "Stop it!" I'm sorry if I scared you, but if that is true, right? You know you're watching a video. You know I'm all the way across the Ethernet. I'm across cyberspace. I can't do anything to you. But me suddenly raising my voice, getting that tone, or suddenly make a violent gesture, like slamming my fist into the wall, will startle you and get your heart beating. Then maybe you understand why, for some people, for some of us, it's not as simple as it's a different time. You should leave it behind you. You should keep up with the time. It's just not that easy. Okay? For example, I still remember growing up and being told that speaking our uh, Taiwanese dialect is bad. I still remember growing up, if I spoke even a single word in Taiwanese in school, in public school, would get beaten by a teacher or being sent home and being told your parent would get called and then you get beaten by your parents, or you would get called to the front of the class and be embarrassed in front of the whole class and stuff like that. So even to this day, even though I know it is okay to speak my own dialect, it still makes me feel kind of cheap and trashy when I speak it. Not that there's anything wrong with Taiwanese dialect, not that it's a cheap or trashy language, but because when I was little, I was told that only hoodlums, only no good, uh, bad kids, only barbaric children, only savages would speak those language. So uh, it's just there. It's in my head. It's very difficult to overcome that kind of memory, that kind of constant 24-hour reinforced conditioning. Why am I talking about that? Because a lot of us don't know, but for Chinese women, it is a definite victory in freedom. It's a victory in liberty to be able to walk out of the house wearing red today. The color red. The color red in Mandarin is called 红色. 红色, Hongshe, 红色. Um, Hong basically means red. Se means color. Now, before I go any further, let me clarify this. This taboo against red color was more enforced in China. It's not so bad in Taiwan. However, it's still there. It's still there. So while I'm mostly talking about women specifically from China, these taboos affected people, my mother's generation as well. Even today, even to this day, quite often, if my mom is on the street and she see someone her generation or some women, let's say women past their 30s, wearing red, my mom will still say things like, "How dare she wear red? That woman is a WHORE. That woman is it's a SLUT. I'm trying to keep this PG, okay? Um, how dare she? Doesn't she look in the mirror? Doesn't she know that she's too old? Doesn't she know that she shouldn't be wearing red? What's wrong with her?" My mom will make comments like that when she see people or like women of a certain age wearing red on the street. And that just stems from how much Chinese women have been oppressed on this particular topic. Why did Chinese women get told that they were not allowed to wear red? Well, this goes back really deep into Chinese culture. A big part of it is because red is such a catchy color. It's a color that is easy to see and it's very cheerful, kind of, and very bright and very flamboyant. And Chinese people, at the core, has always been a very serious, very low key kind of people. So when people wear red, uh, they naturally get uh, talked down or dressed down by their peers as you're wearing that loud color because you want to pretend you're better than the rest of us. You want to show everyone your hot stuff, and then you are cocky and you're arrogant, and that means you're no good. In fact, throughout most of Chinese history, barring the emperor, because the emperors were always exempt from this, the emperor could wear whatever color they damn well wished. For most women, the only occasion they were allowed to wear red was either during Chinese New Year. We talked about that during our Chinese New Year episode. During Chinese New Year, because red is a cheerful color, and you're allowed to be cheerful during Chinese New Year, or at your own wedding. That's it. Those were the only two occasions, Chinese New Year, and your own wedding, when women were allowed to wear red without being judged by their husband, their family, anyone on the street. In fact, just to ensure uh, Chinese women comply, there were a lot of stories and customs made up to make sure that they didn't go out of their way to wear red. For example, if a Chinese woman back then dared to walk on the street wearing red color, right away people start uh, passing rumors around town that she must have been a prostitute, and she must be a lady of the night, and she must be someone's mistress, and she's so she wears that color all the time. You're only supposed to wear that color during the wedding or during Chinese New Year. So that's the first way of people used to oppress Chinese women back then, from being able to wear red color. A second thing that they would do is they would start the rumor that she is mentally challenged, especially if she was a very young girl, like if she was in her teens, not married or a maiden. And that was devastating because back then, it's not like they believe in free dating and stuff like that. Everything had to be arranged through a matchmaker or arranged by your parents. So if your girl have the reputation of being mentally challenged, no one want her. No one want her. So it was very devastating for women to dare to wear red in public. As if that's not enough, there's also a religious connotation to it that they use to oppress women from wearing red. In Taoism and Buddhism, there has been uh, kind of a unwritten, unspoken uh, myth, belief that says if you die while you're wearing red color, then you become the worst kind of ghost. You become eternally bound to this world. You cannot reincarnate. You become a evil spirit, a hungry ghost. If you die while wearing red clothes, your spirit, you're damned, basically. Now, that become a big deal because then that means the more you wear red, the bigger chance you might have dying in that color. You might be out and about and get involved in an accident or get run over by a horse and buggy or fall down the stairs or whatever. So people back then really shy away, especially women, really, really shy away from wearing red because of all these layers upon layers of tradition and belief systems. Now, some people may say, well, are we talking about how long ago? Are we talking about like 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, 3,000 years ago? Come on, man. It's 2021. Why are we talking about this? Because Chinese women didn't start daring to wear red coloration outside of weddings or Chinese New Year until, get ready for this, it's quite unbelievable, until 1971. 1971, which means it's only in the last 50 years that Chinese women slowly, gradually started to dare to wear red casually on the street. Between 1971 and 1981, those 10 years, women still didn't dare to wear all red. It was a very slow, very gradual process. Some women started to put a red scarf over their traditional dress, or some women started to wear a red hat, and some women started to have little red flowers on their dresses. It wasn't until the middle of 1980 when women dared to walk out there on the street wearing a actual red, honest to God red dress. The change, funny enough, came from a movie that I'll admit I never actually watched it, but it's so famous because it revolutionized women's image in China. This is called the Red Dress in the Street. The Red Dress in the Street was filmed and released in China in 1983. 1983. Um, Basically, the plot involved this very beautiful university student in China. She went to a party, and because she was more fashionable, she dared to show up at the party wearing a red dress. And because she was the only girl at the party daring to wear a red dress, she was the center of attention for all the guys. Unfortunately, it backfired on her because when the weekend was over, she tried to go back to work and found herself fired because she was now branded as a prostitute by her employer. And all her coworkers, all the women, hated her because they said she was SLUT. And she was also kicked out of her university. That's how serious this was. She was kicked out of her university because they said she was bad for the school's reputation. All that for just daring to show up at a party wearing a red dress. However, at the end of the movie, basically this young lady went through the entirety of the movie fighting for women's rights, fighting for women's liberty, and defying all the rules and wanted to wear whatever she wanted, despite of what people were doing to her. In the end of the movie, she was able to turn the public opinion around and made people realize that she was still a good and smart person, despite she liked to wear red. After that movie, suddenly buy, you couldn't find any red dress or red pants or red shirt to buy in China. They were selling out like they were the newest thing. Suddenly, women wanted to be like this young lady in the movie. And for the next year or two, it was very stressful trying to find red clothes uh, anywhere. Suddenly they were selling out, and you actually needed special connection, inside connection, to be able to reserve them and buy them. That's when the red dresses exploded. The fashion to wear red dresses exploded for Chinese women was in 1983, 1984, and gradually, uh, as so often is the case, when people see this happen every day, when people see women wearing red every day, people stop thinking it's such a big deal. People stop thinking it's such a taboo. So now Chinese women can walk out there wearing any color they wish, um, without being judged too badly, unless it's judged by older women like my mother who still live back in the time when wearing red is such a big taboo. Thank you for checking out today's Wisdom Wednesday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Toys Thursday. For now, have a good night and 再见.